See, hello everybody. Can you guys just confirm that you can hear me? If you can type in the public chat that you can hear us, that'll be great. Great. Thank you, Gary. Thanks for that. Cool. I see we have 18 people. Hi everybody. Hi everyone. Cool. I think what we'll do is for the start, let's put up a poll and let's see where everybody is from. Let's go. I myself am from South Africa, currently living in Israel, Tel Aviv. And I'm joined here by Jeff, who is from Canada. That's correct, right?
Vancouver, Canada. Yes. Well, we
Nice.
only have 2 seasons here, and that would be rain and construction.
Yeah. So here it's actually not that cold. I know I'm wearing like a jacket, but it's currently like 15 degrees Celsius. I don't know if Fahrenheit, 75,000 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure, but it's not as cold as the Americas right now. Cool. Cool. Let's see who else. 3 people from North America, 1 from Europe. Let's see, maybe in the chat. Virginia, Ohio. Let's see. Anybody else?
If you can tell us too, are you an MSP or a solopreneur? You got a couple of crew working with you. What kind of business you guys got?
Yeah, let's see. Estonia. Wow. Sweden. Swansea, Atlanta. Yeah. Let's see who's. Yeah, cool. Joseph, MSP. 3Techs. Cool. Florida-based MSP. Great.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Okay. Yeah. Like Blake says, let's go. I think we got a lot to chat about here today, and we're just gonna have a casual conversation and about how we operate, how AI works, and some trends. And I think we got a bit of an agenda. So, Jason, let's kick it off.
Let's begin. Amazing. Okay. I'm just going to share on the screen now. We have a bit of a presentation. I should have shared this earlier. Doesn't matter. Let's carry on going. Okay. So firstly, welcome. As I said before, my name is Jason Elias, and I'm a customer success manager here at Atera, and I'm joined by Jeff, who's the president and owner of Cloud Systems from, as he said, Canada, Vancouver, Canada. Cool. Next slide. Okay, basically, so housekeeping for today. This webinar is being recorded. You guys will get a recording of this after the webinar. Questions and comments of our speaker, please can you put all the Q&A, all the questions into the Q&A section. You'll see on the top right, you'll see chat and Q&A. Please put all the questions in the Q&A so we can have them in one place and answer them accordingly. And like I said, at the end of the session, we will have a live Q&A session. You're welcome to put the questions in throughout the webinar, and then at the end, we will go through them and answer them as best as we can. Okay. Cool. So the agenda for today, basically, we're going to have a nice discussion here with Jeff, basically where the IT industry is headed, MSP business model for 2024, MSP tech stack, which I think is very, very interesting, the infographic that Jeff shared with me. And then Atera's AI-powered IT and how we are kind of, leading the way in terms of trying to incorporate AI within our platform. And making it easier for you guys to run your MSPs. And then at the end, a live Q&A. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so firstly, we're going to have trends. Okay, first one being automation. So Jeff, can you explain to me, trends you're seeing in terms of automation, in terms of, how that's impacting your business and things like that?
Automation, I gotta say, is where it's at. Without automation, you're just gonna bog yourself down with all the little things, like doing the patches and the updates and the reboots and things like that. And using tools to automate that just saves so much time. It runs in the background. And once you set up all those automation rules in your PSA tool, like we've done through Atera, it just makes our lives so much easier. You get a report on there. I mean, we're pushing away to managing 1,000 devices with a team of 4, and so without automation, we just couldn't do it. You'd just be working all night.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this is something that we kind of want and encourage our customers to use, which I've seen speaking to customers. A lot of our customers, don't actually use a lot of our automation, which I think is, really at the detriment to them. Again, moving forward in 2024, I think this is something that, is part of AI. I mean, AI automation go together, but we already have baked in features of automation, scheduling patches, and things like that.
Taking the time up front to learn how it works and spending some effort on managing those things and learning the tools is time well spent for sure.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Okay. Let's see. Tier 1. What do you think about Tier 1 support?
That's something that I have gone back and forth with myself on the tier 1. I mean, that's your first level customer support, and obviously there's still that human touch with tier 1 and people calling in, etc. But after talking to other people in our industry and talking to our peers and looking at what we can do with the automation tools, I really do think that we're steering away from a tier 1 level with automation, with AI, with those different tools that are out there. Tier 1 is going to be eliminated, and we are working towards that. I had originally thought, well, you know what? If other people are going away from tier 1, why don't we do the opposite? Why don't we have more hands-on touch? But I honestly don't think that's where the industry is going. We're going to be going away from as much human touch as we see. And when I look at kind of our stats, I kind of look at it this way: when our users, if 50 plus age group, they like the phone. They're going to call in. They're calling in for that tech support. That group is starting to retire, starting to slow down, and I think the 30 to 50 age group, they like email. They're going to send an email to us, and they're not going to avoid the phone, but they're going to initiate the chat by email. And some of those things through the automation and through the AI tools, we can actually solve those problems without even talking to the customer. And then you got the 20 to 30-year-olds, they're texting. They might use the self-service portal, and might use the AI or the knowledge base and try to solve it on their own. So that's why I do feel that the tier 1, we're going to see that slipping away, not overnight, but that's the trend that we're going to see.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people are a bit afraid of this. I really feel that people should embrace it rather than being afraid of replacing people. It's really more of a doing things that are annoying, replacing those annoying things that can be done by AI instead of somebody wasting their time going in and doing basic checks.
And don't think of it as we're going to replace people with tier 1. We are reallocating those people. For example, as we move away from tier 1 stuff, it allows us to do things that are project work. We're going to talk about a little bit more about that as well when we get there. It's somewhere else in my chat, in my notes here, but we'll talk about project work versus tier 1 work. So again, using AI, using automation, we're not replacing people. We are going to reallocate those skills somewhere else, and we need elevated skills to once we replace the tier 1.
Got you. I think it's a good tagline. Not replace, reallocate. I like that.
Another t-shirt. Cool. Another t-shirt design.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. On-prem solutions. What do you say?
Well, on-prem. What is on-prem? On-premise, we don't do any on-premise stuff work at all. I shouldn't say it at all. We steer away from on-prem. As the name of our company is Cloud Systems, we work to get rid of your complicated hardware and networking. Not one of our customers has an on-premise server. We're primarily a Microsoft 365 shop, and we have hosted cloud servers, but nothing on premise. And what we are working towards now is going into WVD, or Windows Virtual Desktop, because it just provides so much more security, ease of use, and with what we see out there, as everybody knows, with the hybrid workforce, we got some people on premise, some people working from home, working from the cabin, etc. Like me, for myself, I've worked from 8 different countries, from 30,000 feet, from 12 miles out to sea, all because of being able to work on the cloud. I'm soon to be in 9 countries, so we're heading to New Zealand in March. And another example too of on-premise work, like I couldn't do the travel that I do. I couldn't work from the multiple places that I do. I don't know if anybody's been on a cruise before, but Wi-Fi on a cruise is pretty dismal. Let me tell you, I had a major issue with a customer while I was away, and I fixed what could have been a major disaster from the Wi-Fi in a McDonald's in Ketchikan, Alaska. So that's why we don't do on-prem stuff, because I couldn't do the things that I do or have the freedom that I do with having to run from shop to shop to fix stuff on premise.
Yeah, couldn't agree. I think more on a personal level for me, years ago, I backed up my whole PC on Dropbox. So I mean, that's already moving everything. So if my computer crashes or anything like that, I've got all my photos, everything that I can just just restore it all and just have my operating system on my device, on my computer, and that's it. So I think it also should move into the industry, which I think is where it's going.
Yeah, with WVD that we're moving into, basically you could have just a box. The computer is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Another example of that is for the once a year that it does snow where I live, we had like 2 feet of snow in a matter of hours, and one of my techs was locked at his father-in-law's house, and so fortunately, with the way that we work, he could set everything up on his father-in-law's computer, but that is not ideal for me as a business owner. Absolutely. I didn't even think of that. And now with WVD, he'll just be able to simply log into the platform and work on anybody's computer and not leave a trace behind.
Yeah. Sounds great. Cool. And now the piece de resistance, if that's how you say it, I'm not quite sure. AI. So what do you think about the trends of, obviously, it started about beginning of last year. We at Atera kind of, jumped on the bandwagon early last year.
Yep.
What do you think for 2024 in terms of trends in AI?
Well, heck, AI is just like everybody, I think, is scary and amazing all at the same time. I just went down to CES in Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show, and of course, there is a huge focus on AI. We see autonomous farming, autonomous mining, autonomous driving. Of course, we have all these things that are out there. And bringing it down to our level where we are today in reality and using that. Again, I'll show some examples later on, but using AI in the business, I think every one of us can easily say that we've used AI at some point in our business, whether it's just to write a sales article or to respond to a customer. AI is here. AI is here to stay. We need to embrace it, enhance it, work with it, because it's not going away. And like I said earlier, I don't believe that it will replace people. It will just allow us to reallocate the talent somewhere else or force us to learn. You won't be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by somebody that knows how to use AI.
Exactly. Couldn't agree. I think again, I'll give you a bit of my touch on AI in terms of my everyday, which I think you guys can use as well. Is obviously when I speak to customers, and it does take a lot of time to reply to emails and things like that. Again, when you have AI, it's getting the context, getting everything ready, and you just kind of look at the email and make sure it's okay, and then I send that. Like, it saved, if I tell you, hours in my day.
Yep.
And even doing a better job, really doing a better job than me at writing response.
I really like Microsoft's wording for it. They call it Copilot, of course,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what it is. You are still the pilot. You are still in control, but your Copilot certainly makes your work a whole lot easier. And embracing it, like I said, it's not going away. So we need to embrace it, learn how to use it, learn how to make it our lives better, easier, and more efficient.
Yeah, and again, I couldn't agree more in terms of if you're not embracing and learning about AI, you're going to be replaced by somebody who is. So I think that's where the replacement comes. Yeah, let's see what's next. Okay, cool. So what are the main challenges MSPs are facing today? Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. Providing top service.
Well, everybody's tagline is "We provide great service." I mean, that's such a cliche. I mean, if you're not providing great service, you're not in business. End of story. So leave that out of your tagline. But here you can use AI to find yourself a new tagline, right? Because feed it some information, see what it gives you back. But yeah, we have to do those things. We have to be doing that. I mean, our phone's ringing all day long too, or our emails are coming in. We're keeping in track of those tickets, and understanding where our timelines are. Like, on our dashboard, we're able to quickly see um, things like how many tickets did we do today, how many opened, how many closed, what's our rating. Keeping those stats obviously is that's kind of my job, and I um, bring that top down. So service is obviously there. It's never going to go away. We got to continue having that service, and that's always going to be a challenge. Is keeping everybody happy.
Yeah, yeah, couldn't agree. And as a service provider ourselves, we couldn't agree more on that. With our support is really the same, providing, again, it's we can say we have top service, but I think proving it is something difficult. And I think, leveraging all the tools that we have, including AI, is really improving this top service that you can provide. Cool. Business success and a competitive edge. What do you think what would you say makes cloud systems successful, and you guys have a competitive edge over maybe some of the MSPs in your area?
That is something I wonder myself. I when I first started this business, I said, you know what? I think I got 5 years maybe in this business because things are getting easier to do. Why do people need us? And then 12 years later, we're still here and thriving and successful. I never imagined that I would still be doing this and making the money that we are. But I think part of it is that myself. I mean, I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to run a computer business. As I started, I had several different businesses, and I kind of came along this by chance, I guess. Is that I was at a networking thing, and I was kind of in between successes here, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And somebody approached me and says, "I want you to be my sales guy." So I worked with him for a little bit, and he says, "Why don't you buy my business?" And I said, all right, here I am. So I don't have a very like I didn't grow up in a tech background. I kind of learned as I went along, and I hired. I always say that I'm the good-looking guy, and I hire smart people. But I also think that I'm able to translate the tech talk into consumer talk. So I don't try to bore them with technology or how smart we are. I don't pretend to be smart. I'm not. I don't know everything in the world, but I do know who to call. And I think that's one of our strengths
Yeah.
like I said, I don't pretend to know everything. I don't want to know everything. And I look for the people that do know those things, and I bring them into the fold. I'd rather share some of that success and share some of that profit instead of trying to learn everything on my own. It becomes much more efficient and much easier to do things.
Yeah, yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that's what makes you, from my side, a good leader is you find people who can do things, better than you, which again is always going to be people who know more. So that's always leveraging those people and putting them in the right places is always what's going to make you successful. And I think what I got from that is just keeping things simple. You
Yeah,
didn't come from the background, you knew kind of, and I think what I get from you is that you know how to work with people. And I think again that's what makes a lot of companies successful is just knowing how to speak to people and knowing what they need at the right time. That for me is something I kind of worked out in being customer facing in success roles, is being at the right place at the right time and speaking to people in the language they know, and not trying to go and throw all these acronyms at people and say, oh, do you know about your cybersecurity XDR, MDR, ZYZ? Speaking to them in simple terms, which I think is also a key
100%,
in the industry.
100%. Yep.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool. MSPs as knowledge holders.
well, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but we certainly need to know a lot of. I think again, as part of my thing, I know a little bit about a lot of things, and then I will rely on others to bring that in. For example, I went to a customer prospect, and they had literally a 10-year-old workstation sitting on the floor of their lunchroom that acted as their server. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do with this person? Like, how do I figure this out? And then once I understood what they were using it for, I said, I don't know how to solve that problem, but guess what? I knew who to call. And I had met somebody at a conference that I was at recently, and I called her up and I said, "Listen, this is what the person needs. This is what's going on." And she goes, "Yeah, I could make a SharePoint site in about 10 minutes that will replace that." And lo and behold, that's what we did, right? So, and again, we both benefited from that, and ultimately the customer benefited from that relationship as well.
Got you. And what do you think? I mean, and I think maybe this is also where this line came from, is in terms of having, I think, yeah, having to know many things. I mean, me personally, I work with MSPs, and I see the amount of things you have to go through is cybersecurity, networking. In my opinion, I try to learn the industry, and I just think, you can have a person who's specialized in cyber, and then even a specific type of cybersecurity. Then you go networking. So I think that's kind of, where you guys need to know a lot about a lot. But again, I think which leads to your previous one, is what makes you successful, is knowing the right person. And I think that's where the knowledge that you have is knowing the right person to do the job. So I think that's kind of, where that's coming from. All righty, cool. How to stay on top of things. Cool. Moving away from break fix, this very, very, very contentious topic here. Moving away from the break fix model. What do you have to say?
Well, we have never done the break fix model because I don't believe in it then. I don't believe in it now. In that break fix is definitely not where it's at, because I can make, yeah, sure, I can make a couple of bucks here and a couple of bucks there, but that's tough to make a living. At the end of the beginning of every month, you still have those expenses, you still have salaries to pay, you still have rent to pay, you still have all those vendors to pay. So, and break fix is just not a reliable income source for you, and you're not doing the customer any favor from just swooping in like a helicopter to fix a problem. We've always been on the, at least in my opinion, we've always been in the we were born in the cloud, raised in the cloud, always been in the cloud, and we've built our company on a monthly retainer. So then we bundle our packages so that we include the cyber, we include the email, we include the support, we include other things. And I spent a lot of time trying to design the ideal package, the good, better, best. Now, don't get me wrong, we still operate on a good, better, best type of program, but I can't design that plan until I talk to the customer. They don't know what they need. I don't know what they want. So we have to look at that and build that package around them. So I'd like to say everybody, and I mean, at the end of the day, everybody does fall into a particular package, but I can't go and promote, hey, you need this and this and this, because then they start saying, well, we don't really need this, we don't really need that. So we listen to them first, understand what they need, and then we can design the plan around them.
Got you. Got you. Makes sense. And do you think, where did my question go? I had it now, it just slipped my mind. So what do? You basically build, you ask questions to your customers, and then basically on their responses, you kind of give them, like, do you tailor your solutions to each customer, or do you have?
I mean, I have, like, in the back of my mind, I already know what they need, but after a conversation with them, I will then I can confirm that, and they've already sold themselves, honestly. I mean, is because they know that they need cybersecurity. They know that they need protection on their computers. They know that they need a better email solution. For example, I just had another customer that we're bringing on here shortly, where they have a staff of 8 people. They have a couple of name.company at Gmail, or a name.company at whatever. They have multiple different types of email systems without a consistent setting. They had a little bit of Dropbox, a little bit of one, the list goes on. I had to have such a fractured IT system and be operational. Once we help bring that all together, like, it just makes it so simple and so seamless for them to work on. So having a specific package, yeah, kind of in the back of my mind, I had that good, better, best that already in my mind as to what I can do for them. And they are pretty consistent through our companies, but we still tailored to them, and we change those names slightly, instead of good, better, best. That's boring. You got to come a little more creative than that. But as far as marketing perspective, but you got to have the Corolla, the Maserati, and the Lamborghini. Those might be in the wrong order, but you get my point. You got to have different names and tailor it.
Yeah.
So depending on the industry, you change the name so it matches their industry, so they understand what it
Ah,
means, right?
I like that. It's clever. Clever. I like that. Cool. Okay, the modern customer relationship. I think this is
Well,
going along the lines of, how you are I mean, you personally say that you travel a lot and you're in the cloud and things like that. How do you keep up the relationships with your customers without being in front of them? Because I think that's a lot of what people tend to think, is that you need to be in the room with the customer to build a relationship.
yeah, you're certainly right about that. I think that's another one of our strengths is that I do have that relationship. We're still small enough, but big enough. I mean, small enough that we still have those relationships where I generally know the names of not just the owners or the directors, but also the employees as well, and just maintaining them, talk to them like a person. You don't need to treat them like an invoice or a um, or we also. Trying to think of the words here, but when we fix a silly problem, you can't make them feel stupid, right? Just say, you know what? I get it all the time where people say to me, "Oh, I could never do your job because of this," and I'd lose patience, and I always say, "I couldn't do your job either," like. I can't hammer a nail in the wall with a nail gun straight, but but I can pick up the phone and make a sale and make some money to pay somebody to do that for me, right? So but in the relationships here is that I've got customers across the country here. I've got customers down into the U.S. I've dealt with people from while I'm away as well, and just being there for them and making sure that you deal with those things on a timely basis as well. But I think the biggest thing is the way you talk to people, and also making sure that you deal with the problems quickly and efficiently as well.
Yeah, yeah, I will say so too. Like, I also have to maintain some level of relationship with the customers I have, and again, it's all based on Zoom or emails and things like that. And yeah, I think a good example is you and I. Kind of when you speak to each
Yeah.
other, it's always chit chat, always really like it's always professional, but it doesn't seem like it's professional. It's like we almost friends, which is what I think makes a good relationship, a great relationship.
Absolutely, and you're on the other side of the
Yeah.
world compared to me as well, and that's the great thing about all this technology that we have. I mean, obviously through the pandemic, I don't think there's a single person on the planet that hasn't had a video call with some sort of module,
Yeah.
whatever platform it might be, and so you do, and like you just said too, I think a lot of our customers are somewhat friends as well, right? So you build
Yeah.
that relationship, and a lot of the customers we've had for a long, long time, and the new customers that we bring on are immediately part of the family too.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Cool. Building lasting relationships. I think we kind of covered this, I don't know if you have anything more to add. I don't think we kind of covered it in the last point. Maybe you have something else to add?
One of the things that I missed on with our main challenges, we had talked about some main challenges with business or with a couple slides ago, but one thing that I forgot to mention was staffing. And I think all of us can also talk about staffing as well. And it still goes with relationships as well. You got to have the right staff, right? And when I first started, I said, "Oh, I can't afford to have staff. Like, holy heck, like that's going to cost me too much." But now I look at it, I can't afford not to have staff. I can't give the service that we need. I don't have the knowledge that I need. And by hiring different people with different talents and different things that they can do, is also important to building your business and the relationships with your customer. You could have some
Mm.
super smart tech guy that knows a lot, but if he's a jerk on the phone, that's not going to work out. If he's a jerk to you,
Yeah.
that's not going to work out, right? The last guy I hired, I interviewed I always do like a video call first. I want to see, well, one, that they're on time, two, they're not in their car, look at their surroundings, how do they act, how do they chat with me, different things like that. And providing they pass that, then I bring them in for a job shadow. So they come in, they work for a couple of hours sitting on my shoulder. Again, I got to see how they interact with the other staff as well, because that's a huge indicator, because your staff is your relationship too, right? And they're part of the family too. So you got to make sure that you have those right people in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, couldn't agree more. I think building on that is kind of, also getting the correct people to help you build a lasting relationship, help you build these relationships. Again, they're an extension of the business, an extension of you. So, you know, obviously having the right people in those positions where if you're not available, you have somebody who's going to fill in for you, who you know is going to carry on fostering the relationship, which I think is extremely key as you expand and scale. You know, obviously if you get to 30, 50 people, it's different. But I think for small to medium sized MSPs, that's really the key in being successful.
100%.
Yeah. Cool. MSP tech stack now is where we get interesting.
Oh yes. Well,
Cool.
this has been a huge pain for me, is to figure out what do we need, what should we be buying, because the choices are limitless. Do you have that infographic, Jason? Are you able to bring that up now?
Find it. I don't have it. Do you have it?
I can bring it up here in a second. Bear with me a second here, guys.
No stress.
I'm gonna bring it up on my screen. Here we go. And I'm gonna
Okay.
how do I share my screen?
At the top bottom, you'll see the little arrow, like a little arrow, up arrow, bottom right.
Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay. All right, look at that. So this is an infographic from one of our partners here that shows us just all of the different options that are out there, and trying to decide what we want is a challenge, to say the least. And some of them you just gotta like say, forget it. I don't know what to do. And you know, and that's where I was for a long time. Was like, there's so many choices here. I don't know what to do. And then I went to a I'll give you back the screen there. And so what I've done with that is I started going to conferences. I hadn't been to conferences for years. I was like, I don't have time for these things, and but they are worth the investment of time is and money, of course, is for two things. One is that the vendors get a chance to come and demo their products for you, so it's easier to make that decision because it narrows it down. Because you know, when you look at cybersecurity, there's 4,000 different people out there, or whatever it is. But now that you can chat with those vendors directly, you can make an informed choice. The other thing that I found is that, of course, they're going to start calling you and say, buy our stuff, buy our stuff. And I was overwhelmed with phone calls, and I finally got smart, and I started a vendor call log. So I would write down my notes when the vendor called me. And to me, for me, I needed that call because I needed the kick in the butt to figure out what I'm going to use. But from that call with the vendor, they could give me their demo, and I could evaluate the product, and then I write my notes about what I liked or what I didn't like. And so when that vendor called me back, I'd made a decision, and I wrote in my notes what it was. But more importantly, with going to these conferences and stuff like that, is I met other people, other MSPs like me, right? And then I could say, what do you guys do? What do you think of this product? And I do that all the time. I look at our other MSPs, and I've made other MSPs are not your enemy, in my opinion. Okay, is that I talk to them. I have several that I talk to regularly on our own kind of mastermind group, and then we'll talk to each other. Hey, have you guys looked at this product? Have you looked at that product? And then we'll give our opinions, and sometimes they differ and sometimes they align. Sometimes we're able to work with that vendor and say, hey, if all three of us or four of us join here and we have X amount of endpoints, can you give us a better deal? And they do, right? So yeah, that negotiation, that power.
Yeah, I think after I never saw that infographic before. After I saw it, my mind went like it's. I mean, here I am, and we have. I mean, through Atera, we have a few cybersecurity vendors, and we have like 7, I think. And I saw that, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My eyes just were like, oh my gosh.
And you know, I'm not sure if that partner was bragging about how many relationships they have, or making it, or trying to say work with us. And to me, that was more confusing than helpful, because there's just too many choices. So talking to your other peers, talking to your staff, that was the other thing I did. One of my staff says, so what are we using here? And I'm like, you know what? Let's chat. And I asked, because my staff are the ones that are going to be using it every day, not me. So I asked their opinion. What do you guys want to use, right? And so we evaluated some in-house as well as some of the references from our peers, etc. And so we came up with our stack, and that could change too, because that's the other one thing. I will not sign a 3-year contract. Some of the vendors out there demand a 3-year contract. Forget it. I will not do it, because it changes too much. There's another option. There's another opportunity. There's a pricing. There's something else. Don't do a 3-year contract.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think really what you said is really echoes in how I like to deal with my customers here. Cool. Upgrading your tech stack.
Well, the tech stack is going to be a continually evolving thing, and like some of the courses that I have said as well is you have your good, better, best kind of thing as well, and then eventually your good becomes the better becomes the best, and you have a new best is also what we're looking at as things change. And I just recently did that. I pushed out a price increase, but I said, hey, listen, I'm giving you a price increase. It's going to be X amount, but the reason is because we're going to now offer you this and this and this, and our vendors are charging us more, so unfortunately we have to charge you more.
Yeah.
And I had one person, I think I only had I think I only had one pushback, and it was more of a joke than anything else, because I had put out, I said it's going to be 7-10%. I said the increase is going to be 7 to 10%, and he says, I'll take the 7. So, so that was really the only pushback I had out of the all of our customers. So, and people understand that there's going to be an increase because everything else is going up in price.
Yeah.
Wages are going up, rent is going up, everything else is going up. So, that's what. And
Yeah.
guess what? I used AI to word the email as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's another example of how to do it. So.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Atera for now we're going to go. Now we've spoken a lot about holistic things and everything like that. Maybe you can share a bit about using Atera for IT management and how Atera has kind of impacted your business.
Sure. Okay. So I just also want to be recognize everybody's time here as well. So I think this is near the end of the slide stack.
It is
Okay.
indeed.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am going, actually, give me a second. Let me just bring something up here for you guys because I want to show something.
You're going to share?
I'm going to share. Yes. As
Cool.
here it
Go
is
for it.
here.
All
Okay.
yours.
So so what I've done here, this is an actual ticket from a customer. I hit the customer. It's just I just made it a different ticket here, but
I think you need to share. I can't see.
Oh yeah, just one second. Let's go to this one. Here we go. Okay, so this is an actual ticket here. I didn't put the company name in here, of course, just under my company here. But this is a customer that was like, hey, I wanna. He's questioning our bill. Basically, I rarely, if ever, get this. However, this particular customer recently bought a company that we have supported for years, and so as natural, he's just trying to look at his costs and does he really need us? Okay, so I'm like, okay, how do I respond to this? I clicked on this AI assistant thing right up here. It summarizes and look, this is real time. It just did this that quickly. Okay. Gives me a summary in here. And if it's not written clear, I find that this helps me to better understand what the customer is asking for. So now how do I respond to this? And I click this generate reply, because I'm like, okay, how do I do this without sounding like a jerk, or why are you questioning me, etc. So and now it gave me a instant reply that I can use. Now I didn't use this exact wording, but it gave me a place to start. And again, just like I mentioned before with Microsoft calling a Copilot, that's exactly what it is it helped me to create the reply to this particular customer. The other thing that I found, one of our staff, English is not his first language. And so this way it helps him to create a response in a more comprehensive manner. It's a simple tool. It's built in. You click the button, it does it. And I do find that he uses it quite often. Now, and then you can also do this, the solution here as well. So that is one example. here in how I use this, or using the AI portion of it. The other thing with the AI here as well is like this is the thing that so I customized the portal, and now that we're doing it live, okay, so it worked. So I customized it so that I just put a shortcut, or sorry, a URL redirect so that I can easily send it to my customers. The other thing, if you'll notice here, I've put in the signature right here is that, hey, they can just click here and go into there. Having a booking link, oh my goodness, that saves so much time. I can't stand it when somebody calls me and says, when's a good time for you?
Yeah.
I
Do you
had
have
one
5 minutes?
I had one person that says that said, "Okay, how about, we went through it all," and he goes, "How about Friday at 2 p.m.?" I said, "Well, what time zone?" He says, "US time zone." And I'm like, there's like what, 6 or 7 time zones in the US? Which one? He says, "Well, your time zone." Well, anyway, so my point is have a booking link, and I just use Microsoft Bookings so that it's built into your thing. You can use there's other things there too, but I keep it simple. Like, don't make it complicated. Don't make it complicated for you
Mhm.
or the customer, right? But anyways, back to this. Okay, so when they log into their portal here,
It's not
and
didn't
of
work. Okay.
course it's okay. Let's actually we'll go in a different way here. We'll go in. Where is it in here? Give me a second. Let me just stop my screen. Let me get it up
No
here.
worries.
Hang on a second. So, but
No
anyways,
worries.
there's using the AI. That's always the danger of doing a demo live, isn't it? That's something
Yeah,
doesn't work
yeah,
out, or you
yeah,
get a little nervous
yeah.
trying to look at that. Um, I see Blake asked for some AI scripting, and I was looking at the other day. I was like, what? I got to be honest. I don't use the I have very little use for scripting, that I
Mm.
have found for me personally, but again, like I said, I'm just a good-looking guy, I'm not the smart guy, so I'm sure there are uses for scripting, but, let me go back to that ticket, and I'll show you something here. Give me a second, let me bring that
Cool.
up again.
I can say that I had for the scripting, I had someone who I forgot what the example one, but it was like there was something that was happening with the disk space management, or
Mm,
hard drive was getting full, and a script was generated, and I have an example of that. I don't have time to pull it up, but there are many things. I will say one thing that if you're not a coder, I would probably recommend getting someone to look at the script after you've generated it, just to make sure it's doing exactly what you want it to do.
okay, what else did I have in here on there? So,
We have
as far as
we have
it's
7 minutes left to discuss. So we might need to surge
Okay, we'll
ahead.
go we'll go
Okay.
through we'll go through a couple of things here is that so with Atera, we like before I joined Atera, I was using a different PSA tool, and I was probably using less than 10% of its features. Part of it because I just wasn't aware of it. I found it overly complicated. I had to go through literally schools in order to learn how to use this product, and I had used it for years because it was a very recognized in the industry, and a lot of people were using it. And as I mentioned before, when I bought the company, the previous person was using it. But I tell you, with once when I looked at Atera, because I was looking for a change, from the time we took it out of the box to the time we had it up and running was a day, 2 days. Doing some one-on-one training with Jason, with a few other things. It's learning how to use those the automation tools, and having like automating reboots, automating patches, automating updates. Now with Azure AD, through Microsoft, and the tools with the tools through Atera, for example, as soon as an agent is installed, it automatically runs the updates. It's automatically doing that already. And then I also have a tool built in where it will install our pre-assigned software, things like Chrome, Adobe, Office, etc. So from the time I take a computer out of the box until it's set up and going, 20 minutes, if that. All right, is because through the Microsoft automation that we have and through the Atera automation that we have, it's set up and running very quickly. And we talked about on-prem and the break fix, and we've shipped for the customers that aren't in our local area, we've shipped a computer to the customer, or they've bought one on their own. I've just told them, here, go buy this. They go buy it, and when they pull it out of the box, by the time they just simply type in their email address and their username, always has to be a Windows Pro. We do. The only reason I like Macs is because when we work with people with Macs, we get to build twice as much because it takes twice as long to solve a problem. So, but with Windows 10 or 11 Pro, it just makes the setup and automation so much easier.
Got
So,
you.
uh, so yeah, I can't speak enough about that. It's just streamlined our business.
I'm just
It's
gonna,
yeah.
sorry to
Okay.
interrupt. I'm just
Well,
gonna kind of put them all, and then we can kind of, there's just
oh,
this one
hang
left.
on. Yeah, I gotta be an early adopter. I've been saving this one for you, Jason, here. So,
Okay.
be an early adopter. It often you do get better pricing on things. I do like trying all the new things, and I go yay or nay, whatever. The AI tools definitely is going to be it. And for being an early adopter, this is all I got.
Hey, look at
You
you.
know, like I got this
Matchy,
Atera hat.
matchy. I
That's
know I
all they
got the
gave
wrong
me
hat on.
for
Oh,
uh,
I've got, sorry, I was wearing the wrong hat from the start.
uh,
Wait, give me a
that's
second. Wait a
that's what
second.
they gave me for doing this webinar and adopting AI early. So
One second.
there you go. You can get one too.
There we go. There we go. There we
So, so
go.
but getting back to business here though, but doing the automation, doing the alerts, doing all these different things, and incorporating our other tools. The other thing that we're able to do, like part of our cybersecurity stack with the different antivirus tools that we use, we can push them out through here. There's something that I'm looking at that I haven't adopted yet. I use a different service right now, but there's Zomentum that is also included in here that does quoting. Coding's always been a big giant pain in the butt, and setting that up automated as well. That's another great thing. I do use Quoter right now. That's something that I do highly recommend, or look at Zomentum because it does tag into here. But having everything integrated, integration is key, so that you can have, instead of having to log into 20 different things to figure stuff out, having it all automated together. I will say, I mean and I know that is changing with Atera as it grows and as they change. Atera's always got new features going on as well, but it's not as recognized as some other ones there, but because it's still new, I guess. But every month you've got new integrations, you've got new features that are generally a great benefit to all of us. So it's I look forward to continuing the partnership and growing, and Atera growing as we grow as well, and streamlining everything as we go along.
Cool. Yeah. Look, I think from our side, it's something that we pride ourselves on in trying to be at the forefront. Like you said, we are the enablers of early adopters. I would say in terms of being one of the only, if not the only, IT management platform that has AI so firmly baked into the platform, I think really differentiates us compared to the other competitors out there. So from our side, we're really trying to, we grew from, I think, from the past 8-9 years, from listening to customers and building things that customers have wanted, and that's kind of how we've come today. And now, kind of, having our customer base moving all of that, and going with the trend of AI, and really riding the wave and seeing where it takes us. So yeah. Cool. I think we're pretty much on time for the Q&A. So let's do this. I think I will take the questions. If there's any questions for Jeff, then you can take them when I put them on the screen. I'll take any Atera ones. And then Jeff, you can take all of the ones that are directed to you. So let's start from the bottom. I'll start with, I need to stop sharing that first. Let's share this. Okay. When is the MS Teams integration coming for ticketing? I think I don't want to say Q1. I think Q2. I can't promise. I did see something happening in the back end recently. I can't promise anything there, but it is. I will say that it is something on the roadmap for 2024. So that's something that could be cool, and probably might have. I don't know. Might have the AI auto assistant or AI assistant baked into a chat with the MS Teams platform. Cool. How do you think the more training will improve your LLM and product in the future? I know you're an Azure based for now and don't use custom to train your language models. So how do you see it advancing once you do start training? I'm not sure if we're going to start training. It's a good question. I don't think we will. Security reasons, privacy reasons for our users. I'm not sure we're going to actually train it ourselves. We kind of have Azure as our source of the AI. It's a good question. I don't think it will, although it might. Although I don't think so. There's a lot of new things coming that I think will, from what you've seen, it's only the beginning. Really, like from what I've seen happening, it's crazy. But I don't think we're going to train the model if I'm honest with you. Okay, Jeff. Now it's one for you. This one's for Jeff. If you could give advice to your younger self in terms of your role, what would your 3 top tips be?
Oh man, getting some touchy-feely questions here. Holy. So, well, I think hiring staff earlier on would have been much better. That's the number one thing. And not trying to do everything myself, because to be an expert in everything, forget it. You're not gonna be there. Always looking at the new technologies, creating relationships. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many things there, but like get out of your shell. If you haven't been to conferences, if you haven't been to those things, and start talking to people. Don't try to keep everything. Don't try to be everything to everybody.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of how you've become successful. And I think a very good role model for people who are starting out, to be honest. Okay, here's a nice one for you. Do you have any suggestions for how to approach a customer to change from break fix to a monthly service plan?
That is another great question there as well. So going from break fix to monthly service can be hard for a customer, of course. I don't like nickeling diming a customer, $50 here, $200 there, 75, whatever. So I think one of the things you got to look at is add up how much have they spent on a break fix. Do they have and are they secure? Like the biggest thing I think to talk about with people without scaring them. You can't scare them into buying something. And that's what I find with a lot of these cyber companies is that they're scaring you, showing you how many times something's hacked into or broken into, etc. But say, listen, give them examples of what has happened to your other customers, and so we're going to include this in your monthly service plan, and explain it to them how it's going to benefit them. It becomes a monthly budgetable expense to them, so it's a predictable expense is the other big thing in there too. And just make sure you include that. And to start with, and well, like I said before too, you gotta have in the back of your mind what your cost is on that, and make it affordable for him and profitable for you. That's always going to be a big challenge. One of the actually a book. Let me just see if I don't have it with me, but let me just look up the book here because this is an excellent resource. Here is going to the next question, Jason, and I'll find that book and I'll tell you what it's going to be.
I'm going to find one for me because a lot of these are for you.
There it is.
I have a nice one there. You found it?
Yeah, it's called Package Price Profit from Tech Tribe. Is the name of it. If you look up the
Which
Tech
said again,
Tribe,
package price
profit. Yes. And if you look hard enough, you're going to find it. You can probably find it for free or just buy it from Amazon.
Cool. Let's do another one.
Because
do you see it?
Sorry, go back to sorry, I don't remember who asked that question, but that will definitely answer it. It's a very quick read. You can probably get through that book in like 2 hours, and it will also explain how to do that for you. The other thing that we like to do is finding a actually here Blake says this here device lease model. So I've looked at doing, I think it's called XaaS, XaaS model. So basically, like, you build in the cost of a laptop or a desktop to a customer. I've looked at that and I just kind of said to myself, you got to mark it up considerably. And it's a 3-year plan, and I mean, really, a good computer, a great computer is 1,500 bucks. Most companies can expense that right away instead of trying to lease it. Um, is it an option? Sure, but I I I didn't like it. I looked at it, I examined it. I said no, I'm not going to do it that way. So, but like I mentioned before, is make sure if you are a Windows shop, make sure that you have a Pro, Windows Pro, Windows 11, Windows 10 Pro model, because it goes into Azure AD and it just works. Everything syncs and works a lot better. So to answer your question, is it a solution? Sure, it is, but I didn't feel it was worth it in our for our offerings.
Cool.
And Christopher, you said the book by Nigel Moore. That's correct. So Tech Tribe by Nigel Moore. Yes, that's Nigel Moore is the author. Tech Tribe is a company he has. The book's name is Package Price Profit. So make sure you look that book up because like I said, it's a simple read and it answers that question as well. How do you bundle and package and price your products?
Cool. Next one is a good one. How do you combat AI hesitancy with clients that may not be excited about it, although Terra is a closed system? And again, I just completely skipped the rest of the question, but I kind of know what it's saying. This is something that I've, personally had customers I've spoken to who don't want to use the AI with their customers. They just say it's, they don't like it. How do you, have you had this before? How would you combat it?
I really haven't had any AI hesitancy, and I tell you, when I show people what it can do for them, they get super excited. Generally, okay, is like, for example, I have a customer that they're a fairly large organization, and they deal with can sometimes deal with difficult people, and so they have to write notes on the interactions with their clients. Okay, so I showed them, hey, listen, if you and I always use the Bing Copilot inside of Edge. Because again, because they're Microsoft 365 and because they are signed in on Edge, how we show it to them, then and I show them that information stays within that tenant, and then I say, listen, just throw out your brain thought into um, the compose area, and then click the button and look what it gives you back, right? So let me just, so I'll bring up an example here. I think I can
Do you want to
do
share screen?
this. Yeah, give me a second just to prep
Cool.
it.
I will say that there's a few questions left. I don't think we're going to get to them, but if you guys, I think most of these questions from Benjamin, from Frank, excuse me, and from Paul. If you guys can email me those questions, and I will either answer them myself or I'll get them to Jeff. I don't think we'll have time to finish.
Okay, so up here on Edge, right here, see it's signed in. I can see that it is signed in. So I'm in my work environment. Right here, it says your personal and company data are protected. So I can prove to them that, hey, you know what? If you are a Microsoft 365 and if you are an Edge and if you are assigned into work, which is 95% of our customers anyways, that's how we set it up. And I can say, tell Jason he is the best podcaster. Okay, I can change the tone in here. I can change the length. I simply hit this here, and let's see what it spits out. Look at this. So I'm writing to express my appreciation. Here, I'll just put this in a document here.
Thanks for the kind words there. You're a
Yeah,
poet. You're a poet.
change. That's right. I had one. I said, tell my boss he's the best, and it says you're as rare as a unicorn is what it gave up. So sometimes the answers. So you see, again, I just gave it a tiny bit of information here, okay, and it gave me this whole paragraph, right? I've been
Yeah.
listening, find them, again, and that alone mostly sells people on using AI. And now when we use it into a practical approach where, for example, we can use it to solve a ticket when it's after hours, and they've gone into doing that. And I had one customer, only one. Oh, it was the boss, not the people. But when I showed them that, like, oh, I don't know about the legal implications and this and that. Well, we're
Yeah, that's a
not,
big one.
but we're not sharing any confidential information here. And I said, instead of using a name, I said, put the person's initials.
Yeah.
Like you can put JE in there instead of Jason or whatever the name is for confidentiality. But again, if you use a free service like ChatGPT, guess what? You're the product. That's why it's free. Okay. But in this scenario here, we are paying for this product and we are paying for the security in this product. At least, again, that's my viewing and that's my opinion on that. I don't think it's even an opinion. I would say that's more fact. But so again, we can use AI. We can be scared of it, or we can embrace it. And I think that's what it is. It's going to be one or the other. Embracing it, or you're afraid of it.
Got you. Cool. I think we have to wrap it up. I don't know if session is overrun. But again, firstly, let me just go back. I just want to say that in terms of the AI from Atera, it's all basically none of the information is sent out. None of the information is shared with anybody. It's all in open AI. It's all secure. We take the security very seriously. So I think, Lilach is going to launch a survey, or maybe I'll launch the survey.
And I got one more thing. If you're not an Atera customer already, I just put in the chat there. There's a link in there, so it's a referral link. So if you choose to join Atera, both of us get a little gift. So that's
exactly.
So copy and paste
that's
that
in
link.
the chat.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
It's in the speaker tab. Yeah. Put it in the public tab
there.
there.
There you go. Now I fixed it. Okay. There
Cool.
you go.
So if you guys want to sign up with using Jeff's link, it's in the chat. And again, I just want to firstly take the time to say thank you, Jeff, for joining today. I really enjoy having conversations like this with you, whether it's in front of 40, 50 people or just me and you. I really enjoy it. So I want to say thank you, and thank you for the support that you have in Atera, and we wish you and Atera and myself many years of good partnerships. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening wherever you are, and keep safe and keep well. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.